Hello everyone, Eunice here. Today is all about very fun and very quick Procreate tutorial. We will create a super easy and very colorful little blueberry while also going through some essential Procreate tools. So let's firstly go towards our canvas. We will decide on it. We are using a standard square canvas with pixel width and pixel height set at 2048 pixels. DPI are at 300 and our color profile set as sRGB with this low number. When it's all done, let's hit done over our top right. Let's get to our canvas and let's begin our preparational part. So firstly, if you want to use the same colors that you will see throughout this tutorial, please go under the description and download everything that we have there. When you are done with this task, let's go and decide on the brush. So we are going to the brush library, we'll go to the calligraphy folder and we will find monoline brush. As we want all of our lines to be very cute and we want it because we are creating a very kawaii illustration, let's tap onto our monoline brush, go inside the brush studio, go under stabilization on the left, and we'll be playing with amount of streamline and amount of stabilization. So you can set the settings the same way as you see them right now onto your screen. I create all the illustrations with settings set in that way, but if it's not comfortable for you, you can firstly go to the drawing pad, try it out here, tweak these options until you find what feels good. And when you are done, let's hit done over our top right. Now let's continue by going to our colors. So we are going under our color palettes. We are going to this color palette that you downloaded. We are going under cards to see the colors names. And let's select the first color with the title dark blue lines. When we are done with these preparations, let's go to the size slider and we will set the size of the brush to something around 13%. Now, when you are done, let's begin by creating a shape of the circle, which will be a base for our blueberry. Let's go to the canvas and with one line, we will create our shape. We will hold it at the end and you will see that you snapped it to a better shape, but it's probably not looking like a circle. So find the size that you like right here and let's go to this option on the top that popped up, ellipse, and we will go inside the editing mode. Here underneath the editing, we will see the option circle. So let's go and select it. And then let's go toward this node that we have on the bottom and we will drag it a little bit higher to create a more squished kind of shape. So when you have the result like that, let's also go to some blank space. We will hold our Apple Pencil there and we will drag our shape more toward the center. When you are satisfied with everything here, let's tap on the screen and let's go and make the shape a little bit more interesting. So firstly, we will go toward our layers. We will tap on the plus icon to create a new layer. And then we will go toward the bottom and we will create a straight line right here. So hold your line at the end and also hold one of your fingers on the screen to make sure that the line is straight. Also pay attention to these tips that you have right here, so we don't need them to be very big. When you are satisfied with everything here, if you need to move it, go to the editing mode one more time and move it from here. But if you are satisfied, let's go and make this little line a little bit more interesting. So we will go toward these tips that we've created and we will go from these tips up with the shapes of half of the circle. So hold your line at the end right here and do the same on the opposite side when you are ready with the first one. So again, hold your line. If you need to go to the editing mode to adjust it, anyway, go and adjust it by moving these nodes that you have. And when you are done, tap on the screen and let's go and get rid of this bottom part. So very conveniently, we have this bottom part onto our separate layer. So let's go to our layers. We will go to our main layer with our main shape. We'll grab our eraser, bigger size of it will work better. And we will go toward the bottom and we will we will demolish this part right here. So when we have the result like that, we will go and merge these two layers together. We will go to our layers. We will go to our layer on the top. Firstly, select it, tap on it, and then we will use the option merge down. Now, when everything is on one layer, let's go to our icon with the color and we will drag the color toward these two little additional parts that we've created. Now, when we have the result like that, we have the base. So let's go toward the top and create a little stem right here. Firstly, going back to our brush, going toward the top, and let's go and create the shape like that. So with one line, holding it at the end, if you want, you can adjust the rotation right here. So for example, let's go with something like that. If you want to go to the editing mode and maybe adjust the curvature, go and adjust it. When you are done placing these elements, adjusting the curvature and everything, let's tap on the screen and let's go and add some thickness by creating a similar line on the opposite side. So again, hold your line, go to the editing mode to adjust it, try to make nice connection with the shape and go over the top to close it with a little curve like that. So again, hold it at the end. When you are ready, let's drag and drop the color inside or recolor it manually. Now, when we have the shape like that, let's go and create a little leaf, but we will do it on a separate layer. So firstly, go into our layers, tapping on the plus icon, creating a new layer, and let's change the size of the brush to, for example, 9%. When we did it, let's go toward the stem area and we will create the first line like that. So hold it at the end and go to the editing mode to adjust the shape if you want to. You can also adjust the placement of it if you want to. So find what looks good for you, and when you are done, let's tap on the screen and let's go and create the second part right here. I accidentally put a little dot, so I will erase it, and then we can continue by going toward this part right here and closing the shape by creating another curve. So again, go to the editing mode to create a better shape or a different shape right here. Find what looks good for you. When you are done, tap on the screen and let's go inside the shape and create some veins right here. So go into the middle, creating the first curve like that, and then creating some little lines going outside the shape. So let's create a couple of them. When you are ready, let's take a look whether we like this shape or not. If we want to adjust it, we can easily do it by going to our arrow key, uniform method. And for example, we can go to one of the nodes in the corner, and we can go and adjust it. We can go to the green node, hold our Apple Pencil and rotate it, and we can go and find a different placement by holding our Apple Pencil at the place and moving our shape to the place we want to see it. So when we are done with this task, let's tap onto our arrow key one more time to deselect everything. If you see that you have some additional elements that you don't need to see right here, so for example, some accidental lines that are overlapping, go and erase them with your eraser. And now when we have the shape like that, let's go and start adding our facial features because we are done with our base shape. So firstly, we will go and add some guiding lines because it will be easier for us to put our facial features. Let's get back to our layers. Let's go to our layer with the main shape and create one more layer on top. And as we are creating our guiding lines, let's make them less visible by tapping on the N icon. Go into the opacity slider and dragging toward the left. So find the level that is something around 25% or so. And then let's go back to our canvas and we will create firstly the line that will be straight and going from the top to the bottom. Firstly, go back to the brush and create this line. Hold it at the end, and also you can hold one of your fingers on the screen the same way as before, so we will know that this is a straight line. Now, when you are done, we will need to reposition it by going to our editing mode, and we will need to position it the same way. So we will need to position it in a way that our shape is slightly bigger on the right than it is on the left. So when you have positioned it in that way, let's tap on the screen and let's do the same on the horizontal axis. So creating our line, holding it at the end, holding one of our fingers on the screen, and making it the way that our shape on the bottom is a little bit bigger than the shape on the top. Now, when we have everything set in that way, let's get back to our layers. Let's get back to our main shape. Let's get back to our brush and let's go with a bigger size of the brush. So for example, something around 20% maybe. We will go from this cross that we have in the middle towards one of the sides. So for example, to the left one firstly, and we will create a line going in that way. So you can adjust the direction, you can play around with the size of it too. When you have the shape that you like, let's go over it and create the second layer right here. So when we have something going in that way, let's go to the opposite side and create something similar here. So trying to remain the same direction and trying to remain the same placement and the same size of this element. So going over the top, adding another layer. If we need to change it, go into our editing mode and finding what we are looking for with the shape. So when we have the result like that, let's tap on the screen And let's make sure that we like the position of these elements. If we want to adjust them, we can go firstly to the S ribbon icon on the top left. We'll use freehand method. We will go toward these two shapes. We will loop them around with our selection. And then we can go again to our arrow key, uniform method. We can go and, for example, make it bigger. And we want to make it bigger gradually, so we will need to go from the center. Let's go to one of the nodes that we have right here, either on the top or on the bottom in the middle, and let's drag the shape outside. Change the size if you want to, go and rotate it if you want to by going to these green nodes. So find what looks good. When you are done, let's go to this first option that we used. It was our S ribbon icon to deselect everything. Now, when we have the eyes, let's get back to our size slider and let's set the size to, for example, 6%. And when we have this size selected, let's go to this cross that we have right here. And from the intersection, let's go firstly toward the left side and create half of the circle or half of the ellipse like that. So hold your line and the ends, go to the editing mode to adjust it if you need to. You can make it a little bit more open or maybe a little bit bigger. When you have the shape that you like, let's tap on the screen and let's go to the opposite side. And this time, let's go with slightly bigger shape. So basically, we are repeating what we have on our opposite side, but making this shape slightly bigger. Adjust it if you need to through the editing mode, and then let's go toward the bottom and create the continuation of our mouth in a shape of half of the circle or half of the ellipse like that. Adjust it through your editing mode. You can make it slightly crooked or more open, less open, a little bit more rounded, or on the contrary, more elliptical. So find what looks good for you. When you are done, tap on the screen and straight away, let's go toward the corner that we have right here on our left, and let's go and create the part that will be some kind of a shadowy part. So firstly, create a curve like that, go to the editing mode, and try to make the connections very, very soft. So we are trying to avoid very straight corners. When you have the line, then manually go and recolor the rest of the area that you have on the top. Now, when we have the result like that, we are done with our facial features and with the basic shapes right here, with the basic lines. So let's go firstly to our layers. We will go to this layer where we have our additional guiding lines. Let's swipe this layer from right to left and choose option delete. Now, we also could see that our shape is not in the center, so we will need to position it at the center. When the first layer is selected into our layers, let's go to the next one and swipe it from left to right. Now, when both of them are selected, we are going to our arrow key, uniform method. And to make sure that we will be positioning our shape at the center, we will go under snapping and we will turn on snapping right here into the settings. When we did it, let's get back to our canvas. Let's hold our Apple Pencil and let's go and look for these two orange lines, one vertical and one horizontal. When you are at these two lines, you know that you are right at the center. So when you found them, when you've positioned your shape, let's tap onto our arrow key to deselect everything. And now, when we have our lines done, let's move on to our coloring part. So firstly, let's go and work onto our main shape. We will go to our layers, we will select our layer with the lines for the main shape, and we'll create one more layer on top. Let's hold this layer and drag it underneath our layer with the lines, and onto this layer, we will add the basic color for the little shape that we have right here for our blueberry. But we will need to do one more thing to be able to do that. So let's get back to our layer with our lines, we will tap on it, and we will choose the option reference. Now, if we get back to our new layer, we will also need to go to our color palette and select the color with the title Cyan Blue. We will be able to go inside the shape and add the color on separate layer. So now when we did it, let's also add the color inside our mouth. So going back to our layers and creating one more layer on top. Let's switch the color to the mouth color and let's drag it to the mouth area. Now when we did it, let's go and add the cheeks while we are here at our basic shape of the blueberry. So let's create one more layer on top. Let's go with the color that will be the color for the cheeks, and we will go underneath one of the eyes and we will create the shape of the ellipse like that. So hold your line at the end, and when you are done, go to the editing mode if you need to adjust this shape, maybe make it bigger or smaller or find a different placement for it. So position it to the way that you would prefer to see it, and when you are done, let's go and manually add the color inside with a bigger shape, bigger size of the brush. So going inside the shape and recoloring this area. When you are done with this task, let's get back to our 9% or 6% of the size of the brush, and let's change the color to Cheeks Blush. When we did it, let's go inside the cheek and let's create a couple of diagonal lines like that. So when you have the result like that, let's go and make a copy of this element because we don't want to create the same thing on the opposite side. Let's get back to our layers. Let's swipe this layer with the cheek from right to left and choose the option duplicate. Now, when we have a duplicate of our cheek, let's get back to our arrow key. Snapping is selected right here. We will move our shape toward the opposite side and we could follow these additional guiding lines that we have because of our snapping. So find the placement for this element. When you are done, tap on the arrow key and let's go back to our layers and merge these two layers together. So go into the layer on the top, tapping and select and merge down. Now let's go and add the color to the leaf. So we will need to go to our layer where we have our lines for the leaf. We will need to tap on it and select reference right here. Let's create a new layer. We will hold it and drag it underneath the layer with the lines, and we will go back to our color palettes to select the green color and drag it toward the leaf. Now, when we are done with this, we are done with our base coloring. So let's move on and start adding some additional colors to make our blueberry very beautiful. So firstly, going back to our layers, we don't need reference anymore. So let's go back to our layer with our lines on the leaf. Tap on it and turn off reference. And let's get back to our layer with our main shape of the blueberry and create one more layer on top. We want our additional colors to appear only onto the inside part of our blueberry. So let's tap onto this new layer that we've created and select the option clipping mask. When we did it, let's get back to our color palette and let's select the color with the name blue. Now, with the bigger size of the brush or with the same size that you are using right now, let's go over the left bottom part and we will start by creating a curve like that. So hold your line at the end. If you need to adjust the curvature, go to the editing mode. And when you are satisfied with everything right here, let's go and loom the shape around. So we are closing the shape and then we will drag and drop the color inside. Now, when we have the result like that, let's get back to our color palettes and switch the color to dark blue. When we have this color selected, let's go toward the bottom right part and create a shape like that. So adjust the curvature, adjust the line through the editing mode, maybe the size of it, go toward the cheek, but not quite to the cheek. When you have the result like that, tap on the screen, and then let's go and loom the shape around and drag and drop the color inside. Now let's go and color the areas, for example, if you have some that you don't need right here. And let's also go and make this shape a little bit more beautiful by adding some kind of the highlighty part or some kind of a reflection part right here onto the bottom. Let's grab our eraser and with a bigger size of it, for example, 6% or so, we will go toward the bottom and we will cut a little part right here. So we are creating a nice curve that will go in that way. You can go again to the editing mode to adjust it. We will need a slight shape right here, so very small shape. When you are having it right here, let's tap on the screen and let's go and erase the part if we have some right here onto the bottom. So now when we have the result like that, let's again get back to our color palettes and we will change the color to cyan. Now going toward the top part to the left and let's create a similar shape to what we have on the bottom, but right here with this new color and on the top. So adjust it through your editing mode if you need to. Loom the shape around, find the placement firstly. When you loom the shape around, let's drag and drop the color inside. Now, when we have the result like that, let's go and add a proper little highlight right here. So firstly, going back to our color palette and let's select the white color right here. So with the white color and maybe with slightly bigger size of the brush, let's go over the top and create a big highlight like that. So holding our Apple Pencil at the end of the line, go into our editing mode to maybe adjust the curvature or anything else right here. When we are done tapping on the screen, making sure that we don't have any miscolored places. If we have them, we will go manually and recolor them. And then let's change the size of the brush to, for example, 9%, and we will go toward this area on the top and we will create another highlight in the shape of the ellipse. So hold your line at the end. You can go to the editing mode, adjust the placement. You can connect it with the first shape that you've created for your highlight, or maybe not connect it. When you are done with the shape, tap on the screen and drag and drop the color inside. And to add some beautifications, let's go with slightly smaller size of the brush, and let's go outside this highlight shape, and let's go and add some beautifications in the shape of the dots. So we can go all over the place and add a couple of these beautifications right here. And also we can not only go with this white color, we also can go with the color that we have right here on the bottom and maybe add some particles to make the illustration even cuter and more interesting. So let's select the color that we have right here on the bottom, and we can do it straight from our canvas. So hold one of your fingers on the screen, invoke this eyedropper tool. When the color on the top of the tool is the color that you need, lift up your Apple Pencil, and let's go with firstly bigger size of the brush, and let's go outside the shape and add some beautifications here in the shape of little dots, particles, and something like that. When you are done with this color, let's go toward the opposite side, select this slightly lighter blue color. For example, we can go with the bigger size of the brush, we can go straight to the outside, to the outline right here, add the particle like that. Go with a smaller size and add a couple more of them if you want to. Try not to overdo it, and when you are done with this task, we are done with our main shape of the blueberry. So let's go and add a little shadow underneath the leaf. So with this color that we are using right now, the blue one, we will go to our layers and we will go and create one more layer above the layer that we are right now on. So let's tap onto this layer and select our clipping mask to make sure that we are staying inside the shape. And also let's go to this N icon and change the blending mode to multiply. We also could go toward opacity slider and set it to something around 40%, adjust the size of the brush and go underneath the leaf and repeat its shape by creating a little shadow like that. Add the color inside if you need to, and when you have the result like that, let's continue by going to our layers and adding additional little shape inside the mouth. So we will create one more layer on top, we will tap onto this layer, select clipping mask, we will go to our color palette, select the color with the name mouth shadow, and we will go toward this top part and we will add the actual shadow right here toward the mouth. So create a little curve like that, take a look at it from the distance, decide whether you maybe want to adjust the curvature or size of this element. When you are done, let's go and work onto our leaf a little bit. So firstly, going back to our layers, go into our colored part of the leaf, creating one more layer on top, tapping on the layer, selecting clipping mask. Go into our color palettes and selecting this cyan blue color. With the cyan blue color, go in toward the bottom part and let's create half of the circle like that. You can loop the shape around and drag and drop the color inside, and then let's switch the color to cyan blue lines. And with this color, we'll go toward the bottom and repeat the shape of our leaf. If you have some area that you need to recolor manually, go and do that. And when you have the result like that, we are done with our main coloring, but let's go and make everything a little bit more beautiful by adding some extra little parts. So firstly, going back to our layers and let's go to our layer with our main lines and we will create one more layer on top. Let's tap on this layer and let's select clipping mask, and then we will go to our color palette and we will select the color with the name lighter blue lines. Let's change the size of the brush to something bigger and we will go towards the lines that we have right here, and we can go and recolor some of them to make the illustration even more beautiful. For example, go right here, go to the opposite side, create a smaller shape with this color. Go again to our color palette and let's switch the color to, for example, this cyan color. With the cyan color, let's go over the top part right here onto the left and recolor this area here. And also, let's go and select this white color. So again, invoking our eyedropper tool, changing the color to white, and let's make a little cut like that. So when you have this cut done, let's also get back to our color palette and change the color to dark magenta lines. With the dark magenta lines color, go into the bottom part of the mouth and recolor in some part of it. We also could go toward the tips of the eyes, so you can go and create that second color right here. So for example, something like that. And if this doesn't look good, we also could go to the smudge tool and make some kind of a transition between the colors by mixing them together. So go and work onto these parts until you have a nice transition between the colors. When you are done with this task, let's go and work onto our leaf. So firstly, go into our layers, finding the layer with our lines on the leaf, creating one more layer on top, tapping on it and selecting clipping mask. Now let's get back to our color palette and let's change the color to cyan blue lines. With the cyan blue lines color, let's go toward our leaf and let's actually go toward the outside part right here. So where we have the intersection with our main shape of the blueberry, let's go and recolor these parts outside, and with the same color we'll go inside and recolor some of the lines right here. If you want to recolor all of them, go and do that. If you already did it, you can get back to your eraser and erase the parts that you don't need. So now when we have the result like that, let's go and add more beautifications. So if you went to the description, you probably downloaded the folder with the sparkle. So let's go and find it. Go into our brush library, finding the simple stamps folder, and let's select this sparkle to brush. With the sparkle to brush, we'll go to our color palettes. We will select yellow-orange color. We should not forget that we will need to create one more layer on top. So go into the list, tapping on the plus icon, and let's go outside and let's create some sparkles right here. So you can go with a bigger size of the brush, with a smaller size. You can make a couple of them by mixing the color of the not the color, but the size of these elements. When you have the outlines like that, drag and drop the color inside. And then, for example, let's select this blue color that we have right here on the top. And maybe with slightly bigger size, we'll go to the opposite side and put a little highlight here and add the color inside too. If it's not working from the first try, try it out one more time. And also we can go inside the shape, for example, with white color. So let's pick it firstly and let's change the size to something smaller and go, for example, right here, put a little sparkle, maybe to the opposite side to add the color inside and make everything that we have right here a little bit more beautiful. And when you are done with this task with adding our sparkles, we are done with our illustration. I hope you are proud of your result. Share it on socials and tag me so I can see your beautiful creations. And if you enjoyed this video, you can find more similar Kawaii tutorials on my Skillshare or on Patreon at the link in the description. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next tutorial.